Hi, we're here on the second day of IFA Conference, and I'm so lucky to be joined by Scott, one of the panelists. Scott, you're from Trade and Investment Queensland. Would you like to give us a bit of a brief of what was discussed on the panel?
Yeah, so on the Queensland freight and sort of logistics panel there before, I sort of made the key point around what's happening in the world and what does that mean for regional Queensland. So there's sort of kind of 5 global themes that I sort of addressed in terms of, medium outlook for economic growth is really slow, geopolitical trade and tension, supply chain and trade barriers, generative AI, balancing net zero and energy security, and what that sort of means for regional Queensland. And I think what it means is, to me, it really elevates the importance of regions such as Cairns. It really means, you can't put all your eggs in one basket, Brisbane, Sydney or Melbourne. We really need to sort of look to our regions. And at TIQ, we have a diversification strategy. So it's really about making sure we sort of diversify across market sectors and regions. So that was probably the key point I wanted to get across today.
Yeah, there's plenty of topics to discuss in that space, and Queensland's definitely a developing state. What are you seeing as the emerging trends as such?
Yeah, emerging trends. Look, one thing that's really difficult about emerging trends at the moment is the way the world is changing so fast, so rapidly.
Yeah, sorry, that's probably a hug. Some months it will go up and down, and probably here it's quite seasonal, right?
That's right, and weather and climatic conditions and climate change all playing a role. But I think some of those themes I was talking about before are sort of the key things that are underpinning everything that's happening. The other thing as well, government policy probably plays more of a role than it ever has before in terms of strategic competition. So you're seeing in other markets, they're spending a lot of money on, sort of sovereign risk industries and spending sort of more money there. And that's sort of putting guardrails around what different countries are doing.
Yeah,
so I think it makes the sort of trends in which industries are going to grow in sort of years to come possibly harder to predict than ever before. But here in Cairns and far north Queensland, it's things like biomade, aerospace, renewables, sort of those type of things are kind of the next big thing, in addition to your food and ag, your tourism, your education.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, it's such a privilege to have you on the panel today, and it's so good. From your perspective, how valuable is it to come to industry as a kind of government official and hear what we have to say?
Yeah, fantastic. So look, I was talking to Scott before, and IFCBAA CEO, and freight forwarders is probably an area we haven't engaged with as much as we would have liked to have at that sort of strategic.
And no one knows who we are sometimes.
Well, that's right. A big learning experience for everybody. I mean, at an individual level, we have people within our regional network that talk a lot with the freight forwarders. But we at that kind of sort of strategic sort of communication level, we probably haven't had the conversations as much as we would have liked to have. And that knowledge is going to help us talk to airports and help them to have conversations with airlines to bring more services in, so that we can have more pathways for you to provide for your customers. So
yeah, that's all about working together. So we're very fortunate to have you and for your engagement with Scott Carson. He's a great CEO, so we're so lucky to have him as well. So thank you very much for making time on Saturday to come to our event.
Anytime, pleasure to be here. Thank you very much. Cheers. Thank you.